Hey guys, welcome back to Love Ariel, a podcast where we explore our dynamic lives. I am happy to be back because I've been gone for a week. I have been sick and I hate being sick. And I know so many people who have gotten ill in the past few weeks this month. I think the transitions between the seasons, everybody has allergies. It's just been so nasty. My partner was sick, then got me sick. So he's on the mend. I am almost there. I'm at that stage where I have a lot of phlegm. And I'm already someone that's very mucusy. I have a lot of mucus. That may be TMI, but I don't really care. So I'm at the point where every morning I wake up and it's just huge green clumps and it's disgusting. And when I'm sick, I fully shut down. I know some people are very functioning. They can pretend they're okay. I am not one of those people. I have a tissue box right next to me because it just keeps coming up. So if you're watching the video, that's a new prop. But I'm so bad at pretending like I'm okay. And when I have a sore throat, I fully shut down. I don't talk. I hate opening my mouth because it just hurts so bad. And it's interesting because if you're into astrology, if you are a Taurus rising, your throat is the most sensitive part of your body. And for me, that rings really true. Growing up, I hated turtlenecks. I hate turtlenecks now. I just hate having things around my neck. It feels very claustrophobic and uncomfortable. But I do love a little neck scarf, especially in the winter, especially when I'm sick, because I like to keep it warm. But I like the freedom of a scarf rather than a turtleneck. And then also, I just had horrible sore throats ever since I was really young. And it's interesting that that's a Taurus rising thing because along with sore throats, I also really struggled with my throat chakra and using my voice and talking, which is why, podcasting has been such a lesson and an opening for me for my throat to be able to use it and to heal that part of myself that always felt so shut down. So it was interesting this past week when I had a sore throat and I was so sick. I could have recorded, but it would have sounded horrible, the most nasally, the most disgusting. So I am here now. I feel a lot better. And I learned a lot while I was sick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit all these coughs out, but I learned a lot when I was sick. And I kind of want to talk about that. I want to talk about the journey I went on internally while I was ill in the house, just thinking and struggling and just wanting to cut my head off. And then I also want to talk about an amazing experience I had last night at an Ecstatic dance event that was facilitated by Ecstatic Dance LA at my yoga studio, Center for Yoga. And it was such an incredible time. I am feeling the highs of it right now. And I also was so in the spirit this morning that I was let me put glitter all over my eyes. So I started with my right eye. I thought it looked horrible, but then I couldn't take it off because glitter is impossible to take off. So I can't tell if the camera's picking it up right now, but yeah, we got a glittery right eye. My hair is dirty. So it definitely looks very matted today because I sweat so much. Everybody was sweating so much. I was dripping wet by the end of it like everybody else was. And I had just washed my hair that morning. So I was when I took a shower last night, I was I'm not going to wash my hair. I'm going to wash it tomorrow so that it's not too harsh on my head. But yeah, that's where we're at. So today's a little rough. And I kind of like that because it's real, you know? Like, we're not always going to be done up with makeup, feeling good, skincare done. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're just like kind of nasty human beings. So I'm sick. I have glitter on my eye. I have sweaty hair, but I feel so free and fun and activated. So that's what matters. That my spirit feels good right now. So, yeah, let's talk about what I learned when I was sick. So, when I'm sick, usually I want to cut my head off because usually I have like a sore throat. So, I just want to cut like from my neck up, off with my head because I can't handle the pain. It's so painful. And it's really interesting when you have that pain in your body and it's a place that you can't escape. Like, you cannot escape your body, and it's something that you have to deal with. And I feel like this emotion, this feeling, I feel like also relates to when you have a hangover, because I remember having the worst hangover of my life when I was like 19. And I literally was like, I'm gonna cut my head off. Like, I can't handle this. And I haven't actually drank like that since I was 19. So it's been like 5 years. But that was definitely a learning experience for me. But it's in those moments where you can't abandon yourself, you know, there's nowhere else to escape. There's nothing else that you can do except be with yourself in the present and try and self-soothe. And so while I was feeling these emotions, I was like, fuck, like, I feel horrible. Like, this is the worst. Like, just fully, like, feeling so bad for myself. And I think that's fine, you know? So I was trying to find some level of comfort. So I went to the bathroom and I just took a really hot, scorching hot shower. I am a scorching hot shower girl on a daily basis, but it was so necessary while sick because it really moved the mucus, really loosened things up in my chest and in my throat that made everything just like a little more bearable to breathe, a little more bearable to swallow. And I would just like sit there, head against the wall, like water just shooting down my back, sitting on the floor, just letting it just like overcome me. I'm like, I wish I was swimming in the ocean right now, like in the warmest ocean. But you know, what I have is a shower. And as I was like taking in the water and touching the water, enveloping myself in the water, I was realizing why it was so comforting. And it was comforting because, you know, warm showers are very beneficial for when you're sick. But it was also very comforting because I was realizing that by connecting with this element, water, and I think I talked a lot about this in the Elements That Guide Us episode, but I was really able to connect with the energy of water, which is like one of zero resistance. Water just flows, water just changes, water just keeps going. And it was that level of non-resistance that was really taming the part of myself that is in deep resistance. And I feel that in my body often where I'm like resisting so much. I'm resisting the sickness in me. Like, I'm trying to fight it, right? I'm trying to fight an infection or whatever it is. And that's a good thing. Like, my body is trying to fight and it's a natural mechanism. But then I think that I take that on to like a next level and I'm like resisting the pain that I have to feel to heal. I'm resisting the change that needs to happen. I'm resisting the growing pains. I'm resisting the healing. And sometimes when you're healing, you have to move through that pain. This is kind of when I was realizing like all the resistance in my life, the resistance to change, the resistance to healing, because healing isn't like rainbows and like really pretty soft little clouds. You know, healing is actually really hard work. And when I really started committing myself to this journey of like self-improvement and dedication to like my higher self and figuring out my traumas and triggers and working through that and really healing those parts of me so that I can show up, you know, shame-free and ready to just love, I had to go through so much pain, you know, pain of breakups, pain of just remembering your childhood, pains of just growing, true growing pains on a spiritual, emotional level. And oftentimes, our emotional world, the stories that we tell ourselves, all of those things can manifest in our bodies, and sometimes it manifests as sickness. You know, the shame that we hold so deeply in our hearts and our bodies and our minds, the guilt that we feel, all of that manifests as disease. And I fully believe that on a holistic health level, that our whole being is impacted. And if you're in a negative emotional state for, a very long time, that's going to affect your physical. And I've seen that on so many levels in my life. And so being sick this past week and really coming to terms with that and just sitting in the shower with the water like brought all that up for me, and it let me ease into the moment a little bit easier. I was able to handle my sickness a little bit better. I was able to understand that there's healing happening. When you're sick, there's healing happening. Your body's going through the motions. It's fighting off what it needs to fight off. It's trying to protect you. And the pain that you feel from that has to be welcomed, because if you resist that pain, if you resist the healing, then there's going to be no change. There's no improvement there. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to feel the pain because I have to improve. I have to change. I have to evolve in this space. And I'm just so glad that we have these things that we can call upon in our lives to take a shower. Like something so basic as taking a shower can actually be a huge eye opener. And, I'm so grateful for that experience, not only because it soothes my throat and all the phlegm and mucus, but that it allowed me to soften into the natural cycle of life, which is ever changing. And change is a natural state. And it's so funny because growing up, my address was 5555. My favorite number was 55, or like consecutive fives. I loved Disney Channel because it was 55. I loved HBO because it was 555. I just love fives. My name, it's all fives. Like Ariel Tool is like 55. My middle name too, Ariel Arctic Tool. Everything's 5, right? And I just love 5. I think 5 is a great number. When I got older and I was looking into what 5 really meant, 555 is the number for change. And I thought that was really interesting because change is a huge, huge, huge theme in my life, as it is for many people. But I do notice in my life that I have a major resistance to change, which is why it's one of the major themes in my life, because I am a Scorpio moon, not because I'm a Scorpio moon, but if you know astrology, I'm a Scorpio moon. So there's a lot of transformation happening constantly. There's never a time where I'm not transforming or transitioning or alchemizing something in my life or in the world around me. And that's kind of an uncomfortable place to be, especially when you value stability so much and safety and security. Change feels like a threat to that. But actually, change works with that. It works with the security. It works with the safety, because you know that life is ever changing. And if you are present with the moment and you are able to adapt, then your needs will always be met. And that's something I constantly have to remind myself, because I'll get stuck in moments in my life where I'm not even realizing that I'm stagnant. I'm not realizing that I'm resistant to change. And in those moments, I have to check in. And I'm grateful that I have practices and people around me where I can have conversations where I'm realizing patterns in my life at the moment that I need to shake up and loosen up a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of what I learned while being sick. I was also having many conversations with my partner about our relationship, and I was realizing how the resistance to change and the resistance to healing and us both being sick, it was all bubbling up to, these conversations that we were having. And I was realizing that I was resistant to the change and the healing that must be done within a relationship. And we are both very intentional with our relationship. We are intentional about our conscious commitment to each other. And, I think relationships go through ebbs and flows. And we were at a moment where things were feeling stagnant. And it was because we were resistant to changes that we have to make. Little changes, big changes, small changes, whatever it is, there are still things that we needed to work through, to move through, to heal within our own personal lives and together. And, being sick, we had to move that mucus. We had to move all the phlegm. We had to move all the debris, right? To get the engine rolling again, to loosen everything up. And so, not to say that us getting sick was divinely planned, but it definitely was a really great checking in moment. And I think that's something that many of us kind of ignore when we're sick. Your body is telling you to rest. Your body is telling you that you need to heal. And I don't think that every time it's an emotional thing you need to heal. It may just simply be physical, but I think there is a lot within our whole body, in our aliveness, in our consciousness, in our emotional lives that also needs healing on a daily basis, right? Because we are changing every day. And yeah, I think that I have come out of this little moment with a deeper appreciation for the lessons that my body is telling me, and really listening to it, listening to the elements around me, and calling on those grounding, energies that really help us in life, because, we cannot separate ourselves from nature, because we are nature. And to really just dive deep into that gnosis is so, so rewarding. So while I was sick, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, which what's new, but I was listening to a lot because I wasn't going outside. And I started feeling the call to meditate. And meditating has always been very, very difficult for me. My mom would tell me that when I was younger that I would meditate, and when I was in class, in kindergarten, I would go behind the little chalkboard and I would meditate and give myself a moment. And it's really interesting how those practices were completely lost in my life after my childhood. And I've always felt so much shame for not being able to get back into that space as a child, and into my, middle school days and my high school days, young adult life. And my mom would meditate every single day. And so she would meditate and do yoga every single day. So it was nothing that was foreign to me. And I think that's why I felt so much shame, because I was like, why can't I just do this? Why can't I just do this? And it's very hard for me. But my mom would always tell me about how she would meditate, right? And how that would really help her. That still didn't really convince me to go for it. But the podcast I was listening to recently really kind of helped push me, because I think right now is the right time for me. I don't think I was probably ready before, but now I really do have this loving discipline for my life. And having a practice every morning where I just have silence, or it's a guided meditation, or I'm just able to tap into the present within a meditation that is intentional, is really important to me. And so I'm really, really excited for this journey. I use the Open app. I'm not sure if any of you guys know what the Open app is. I think I've talked about it a few times in these episodes, but basically, I wish I was sponsored. The Open app is a breathwork, meditation, and yoga flow app where you can do daily meditations, you can do daily breathwork, you can do daily yoga. There are live classes, so you can catch a live class if you want, but they're also recorded, so you can watch them back. They have pre-recorded ones, and you can have streaks and count how many days and reminders and notifications. So it's actually a really great app. I think it's $20 a month. And when I wasn't going to the gym or anything like that, this was a very great app for me, especially for breath work. So I highly recommend that if you want some kind of support in that realm. You can get on your phone, you can Chromecast it to your TV. And so that's where I've been starting my meditation. I am on day 3. Is that 3? Yeah, I'm on day 3. And I'm so proud of myself because honestly, even doing one day for 5 minutes is a big feat for me. And I say that we should celebrate ourselves. We should celebrate any accomplishments. We should celebrate any, movement in our lives because that is huge for me and I'm so proud of myself. And when I got to day 2, I was like, okay, let's go. Day 3, I'm like, yes. Day 4, I just know that it's just going to get more and more exciting as we go. The first day that I meditated, I FaceTimed my mom and she was like, you're smiling. I was like, yeah, I did meditation. She's like, I already see the effects. And like, I love that. So I am super stoked on that. So check out the Open app if that's something that you're interested in. But during these meditations, I was just so happy and just content in the present moment. I think the present is just so potent with so much aliveness because that is where we live now. Like living in the past, living in the future, living in this weird timescape that doesn't exist. Feels dead. There's no breath there. There's no life there. There's no potential there. But when you're living in the present, when you're activated in the present, that is where life lives. That is where breath is. That's where your heart is. That's where your mind should be put to rest. And I think that is so easy to say. It's common sense, I guess, but when you're really tapped into the magic of what that means for you and your life, I think it is so, so incredible. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. I will keep you guys updated on this meditation journey. I am happy to have a practice where I don't have to go somewhere or do something. And that's something that's consistent for every single day because I do have my practices, I do have my routines, but I can be wishy-washy on them. Oh, I feel like doing this one this day and this one that day, well, whatever. But I need something that's like consistent for every day that brings me back to the present moment. And I think that it maybe comes with age. I don't know, but I feel like I'm just really growing up and I think that's your 20s, your early mid 20s. I'm just like growing up and it feels good to feel that power and agency over your life to really create what you can from it. So, yes. Meditation. After I meditated yesterday, I felt called to pull some cards from my Rose Oracle, and I highly recommend this Oracle deck. I love the Rose Oracle. I love the teachings of the Rose. It has been so important in my life. I love seeing roses on my walks. It's such an amazing storyteller and history holder that is the Rose. But how I do like readings and like oral cards and tarot for myself is I sit in front of my altar and I just talk. I use my voice and I talk. I'm either talking to the universe, I'm talking to God, I'm talking to my higher self, I'm talking to my spirit guides, I'm talking to love, I'm talking to the universal collective of energy, and I'm just talking. And I'm just like this and that and blah, blah. So I was talking about change and pretty much everything that I'm telling you guys, I'm speaking out loud and like realizing things. And I talked a lot about change. Lo and behold, I'm shuffling cards and this one card comes out that's called Healing is Happening. And within that excerpt, it talks about change. And I want to read that for you guys because there are so many moments when I do readings for myself where I'm like, oh my God, this is not a lie. Like there are so many moments when you give yourself in the space to believe and to connect, the universe just answers back. And so this is what it said behind the card Healing is Happening. You're not broken. Trust the process. It's safe to soften. And for me, while being sick, this meant a lot because Knowing that you're not broken just because you're sick is very important, because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm so sick, I'm so gross, like this is disgusting, like I'm so broken, blah, 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 that's going to manifest in your body, right? And you're really going to believe those stories that something is wrong with you rather than realizing healing is happening. Trust the process, because the process is real. We have to trust the process in our life. We have to trust the process of breathing. We have to trust the process of healing a sickness. And it's safe to soften. And I think that was really important for me to remember when sick, is that it's okay to soften. It's okay to just be a little baby on the couch, you know, and to want to be taken care of and to like soften within it. You don't have to be like, I'm sick and I'm not going to let anything penetrate me, right? It's okay to soften. So here's how this little description goes. You're not broken. You're part of the ever-changing nature of life. Ever-changing, ever-changing, ever-changing. Change is your natural state. The rose knows that you were never meant to stay the same, to be one single shape, size, or way. You're not normal, and that's normal. You're always becoming more and more of who you truly are. Healing is happening every moment of every day. You're returning to the true state every moment of every day. Call in your support team of people who can hold you in that, who can trust in the grace of your natural state. A true healer knows that they're not the one doing the healing. Rather, they're holding the vision of the return to wholeness, knowing that wholeness isn't a stagnant state. When you embrace all parts of life, from the ecstasy to the agony, the joy to the grief, the bloom to the fall, the bud to the rose hip, you'll realize that healing is always happening and life is on your side. No one is immune to the polarity of this human experience. The only way through is to embrace all parts of it, the light and the shadow. And as any healer initiate knows, the only way to the light is to embrace the shadow within. The shadow, and sometimes the pain, is a portal to your liberation. You're not broken. You're healing. Healing is happening. Trust in the timing of life. Healing is happening. Healing is happening. Healing is happening. And I don't know, that really touched me because I think there's so many important points in that. And I think it kind of ties into what I was talking about last episode, where you have to hug the shadow of yourself. You have to allow all of you, every single part of you, to be held in the wholeness of who you are, and knowing that your wholeness is also ever changing, right? So yeah, that was just really lovely, and I hope that maybe that touches some of you guys, and yeah, it's just like a really yummy, juicy, healthy reminder of just our natural state, and to not fight that, and to really just accept it, love it, and, you know, walk with that as your life path. Another thing that I meditated on, I think this was yesterday, I forgot what they asked, but what does success mean to you during my guided meditation? Like, what does success mean to you? And then how does success feel in your body? So at first, when they asked, what does success mean to you? I thought about community. I thought about feeling like I am of service. And then when asked what success felt like, I felt and saw this like lava light, just like lava pouring from my chest, and it's just like, ah. And to me, that really tied into this idea that kind of just like popped in my head, and it was to love shame-free, to be able to release shame and to just love everyone. And for me, I didn't even realize that I had a lot of shame. And it's funny because I feel like I tell myself stories that I'm not shameful and that I'm shame free because, I don't wear bras and my titties are always out and I love my nipples and, I'm very free. But I have noticed within this week's span, the conversations that I'm having with my partner and just like looking inwards, that I do have a lot of shame and I'm not even sure where it comes from. I don't even know where the root is. And when I was meditating on success and then feeling like success to me is loving shame-free, I realized I've had a lot of shame for being a loving person. And I see this in different places in my life where maybe I have been judged for, being so loving and caring, and I've been told that I was really naive, that I need to grow up, that I need to get my heart broken a few more times, which is something an ex told me. And that, I remember I had my first like editorial kind of shoot when I was 19 in London with this German photographer. And he was so serious, and I'm just like a laughy, giggly person. Like right when you meet me, I'm probably smiling because I have a big ass mouth and a lot of teeth, and I just like to smile. And it's very natural to me. It's who I am. That's how I express myself. And I think that's one of my gifts. I think one of my gifts is my smile and how I connect with people on that level. And I remember him telling me, stop smiling. Like, there's nothing funny. Like, stop smiling. You have to learn how to be serious. You have to learn how to, like, shut that off. And I felt very uncomfortable. I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed for being a smiley person. And I've seen the differences from when that started in my modeling career, where I just stopped smiling. Like, no more smiling photos on Instagram because it's cheesy and, it's embarrassing, or whatever they tell you, especially on set, like smiling is too commercial and whatever. But I do know that's one of my strong suits, and I think that I also felt shame for smiling in high school when I had braces. I was just like so ashamed of my braces that I would like try and not smile, or I'd hide my mouth, or just feeling shame and embarrassment for like something so innocent and so loving and so beautiful. And that's one level of it. And I think I also feel another level of shame because I've always felt like I'm the world's lover. I want to seduce the world. I want to love the world. I want to make love to every inch of this earth, whether that's like the earth itself, the people in it, to the buildings, to the trees, like everything. I want everything in this world to penetrate me and for me to love it back, and to just be in this but this force field of pleasure, of eros, of joy, of oneness. Like this oneness of it all, of like love making to the whole world, is just so appealing to me. And it's something I've always felt deep in my heart. I've always felt this feeling of like erotic joy for everything. And I think that in our societies, that is frowned upon, especially within relationships, when we have compulsory, straightness and monogamy. Like that's the only way to have a relationship, when I just don't think that's true. We're going to love so many different people, and I don't believe there's just one person. And so no matter if I, am a monogamous dater or not, I still feel shame for loving people. It's like, these are the stories that our society tells us and we tell ourselves, and from the media that we watch, like Disney princesses and things like that, where I've told myself, no, you should want this one thing, you should want this one thing, you want this one thing. But I want the whole world, I want to explore, I want to experience. And I'm just now being aware of that this week, of like the shame that I hold that is holding me back from actually living the life that I want to experience. And when I was having these conversations with my partner, when I was having this internal dialogue with myself of just like understanding and not calculating, but like scanning the feelings in my body, I'm starting to realize that I've been in this stagnant state where I'm saying what I want. I have the vision for what I want and what I see for myself and what resonates. I see the path, but I am not taking the actions to be an energetic match to that life. I am not taking the steps to heal. I am not changing my ways, and I'm not being activated in the energetic match of it all. And if that's something that I want, if I want community in my life that is just so loving and supportive, I have to be the energetic match to what that is. Same goes for partner or, the kind of adventurous life that you want to live. You have to have that energy for it to be a match, right? So that's kind of where I'm at now, is just being way more conscious and intentional about the choices that I'm making within the realm of things that you can't really see, but more energetically of like, I'm going to live that life right now, instead of being like, this is the vision I have for the future, but like making sure that I'm the energetic match to my dreams. So yeah. On the topic of community, I have been so stoked and just so excited about this one thing, natural building, specifically cob building. And I don't know how many of you know what cob is, but basically cob is a natural building technique that has been around for a long time, like millennia, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, like from the dawn of time, right? Because it's natural. So basically cob is a structural composite of earth, water, straw, clay, and sand, hand sculpted into buildings while still pliable. So that's basically what cob is as a mixture and as a building technique. And it is so fun to watch videos of people building homes. The first time that I heard about this, I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts at the time, The Chatty Broads, which The Chatty Broads as a podcast opened me up to so many things. And okay, I'm taking a little tangent here, but this podcast really was my best friend at a time where I dropped out of school and I kind of went on my own journey as a young person in the world, like living in a new country, like finally financially independent and trying to find my way and just exploring this world. I was very alone at this time, and this podcast was always there for me. Twice a week, I was able to tune into conversations that I really was so excited about because they were things I had never heard of before, or there were things that I heard whispers of but didn't know much about. And a lot of it was womanhood. A lot of it was bringing me into my womanliness, talking about tantra, talking about sexual pleasure, talking about pleasure, period, and birth stories. And one of the things was cob, because one of the girls, Becca, I'm obsessed with her, she talked about cob, and she talked about this book that I have right here. And I think she found it at a thrift store or something, and she started talking to us about it on the podcast. And right when I heard about it, it just made so much sense to me. Natural building makes so much sense to me because it is non-toxic. So there's no mold, there's no nasty chemicals and glues and just all the things that make us sick. So it's a grounding home because you're connected to the very elements of nature. So it's very soothing and it is calming to the nervous system. Then it's very cheap to make, and I think that if that doesn't sell you, it should, because the materials are from, the natural site of where you're building. Hopefully, maybe you have really great soil that you can just dig from there, and any other materials that you may need are very cheap to get because they're natural. And from there, the labor of it all, you can build your own home. You can be your own builder. So you're not really paying anyone to build. It's also a great community activity and community building to have people in your neighborhood come help you, your family come help you, children, old people, everybody can take part in building this home, which I think is so gratifying, so rewarding, so beautiful and fun and celebratory and sacred. So you really have the power to design your life, design your home, and I think that is so exciting to even think about, let alone like call into your life. So yeah, those are a few elements that just like really made sense to me. And I was like, that sounds like something I want to do. So I've really had Cobb in the back of my head for a while now, and I haven't really dug too deep within that realm, but I've known that that's what I want to do. I want to build a home and I want it to be community based. I want to, buy land and I want to build this home, design this home. I don't know. That vision for me, that dream for me just feels so exciting. And just like the epitome of life is just like creating community within like a home, with land. And yeah, so I got 2 books the other day. One of them is, if you're watching the video, I'm holding it up right now, The Hand Sculpted House, a philosophical and practical guide to building a Cobb cottage. And then I have another book called Building with Cobb. I am on the lookout now for different workshops within California or places that I can get to easily that are doing Cobb workshops. So you can go to these sites and help build homes and learn how to build them. And that's something I really, really want to get my hands in. I haven't really found any now that it's getting colder out and it's like the fall months, but definitely, if not by this year, because the year's ending, definitely next year. That's one of my biggest goals and dreams. I really want to do as many workshops as I can that I can afford to, by volunteering my time. But I think it would be a lot of fun. I've got my highlighter out. I have my pencil and I've just been like reading. So I really loved some of the philosophical points they've made in this book, and I just want to read you a few of them to maybe inspire you to like do more research into natural building, because I feel like it could solve so many of our life issues in these human bodies. First off, living in non-toxic homes I think would be so much healthier for our place of rest, some place that we spend every day, and for our housing crisis. If people knew how little it actually costs, like if we just had land, if we gave people land and to build from the natural materials around us, and knowing that these buildings last for hundreds of years, they are fireproof and they are earthquake proof. Come on now, like that just seems like the easiest solution to me. So definitely look into it, but I'm gonna read you some excerpts. Both building and living in your house are spiritual processes of daily joy, reflection, and connection with nature. Duh. And I don't think we don't think about that enough, especially growing up in a city for me and so many people who like live in New York and LA. Like we're just so numbed by the city life of it all and the structure of our living, situations, our apartments, our homes. Everything is very, very manufactured. It's toxic and definitely not calming to our nervous system. And then the next excerpt was, we hope this book will help you summon the courage to take charge of your own life, to build your harmless house and live in it with harmony with the cosmos. Like, yeah, that sounds like a dream. And I was actually thinking about this concept the other day about like people who build a home versus people who just buy a home. And I actually wrote a note about it in my phone. I haven't read it since I wrote it, so let's see what I wrote. Having a vision for your life. Will you buy a home or build a home? Will you build your life or buy your life? Do you want to buy into it, or do you want to live it into creation? And I think that's super interesting to think about, because many of us do buy homes and we buy condos and we buy our lives. We buy into it. We consume what we want our life to look like, but it's already a vision of somebody else's that they've sold to you, right? So it's a little bit different than building your home. You're creating from your heart. You're creating from your soul. You're creating something that's uniquely for your life, and, creating your life into vision, I think is so, so powerful. I think it's magical, and it's something I really respect. And it's something that I really want for my life. There is no blueprint that already exists right now that will fit me perfectly. I want to be able to create, I think that's one of our greatest gifts as human beings is the power of creation. That is something so inherent to us, is the power to create the magic that is creation. So yeah, I've been on my cob learning grind, and that's something that is really, really inspiring me right now. It's giving me a vision. It's giving me life. I'm just loving it. So if you have any info on natural building or cob, or if you've done it before, please let me know, because I'm so curious to hear your thoughts and, your experience with natural building. I would love to get into it. I'm specifically interested in cob building, not adobe, because adobe is dried blocks. So there's a different kind of structure to it, but cob is free form, it's curved, and I'm very interested in that. So I'm going to end this episode talking about ecstatic dance, because that's what I did yesterday, and that's what's like really potent and present in me today. I think it was the perfect way for me to just close the chapter of this past week, of, the excitement from cob and inspiration from that, tapping into like my shame that I hold in my heart, to, change and alchemizing energy and conversations and inner world healing. And then yesterday I had this ecstatic dance, which I've been planning with my partner for a while now. So basically at this ecstatic dance event, there's a DJ, I think his name is Robin Parrish, and he's basically the head of Ecstatic Dance LA, and they dance on the beach, and they have like a location, I think, that's opening back up next month, where he DJs, and it's a mix of world music, drums, house, and you just dance. There is no talking, there is no drugs, there's no plant medicine, there's just shame-free movement and dancing however your body wants to move. It's not even like dance. There's nothing choreographed, nothing. You just move your body, you move to the beat, and it is so much fun. If you have never done a static dance by yourself in your house or with your friends out in public, you have to go do it. You have to do it, because if there's one thing we can all do, it's dance. It is moving our bodies, right? Your mind has no place on the dance floor. Your mind has no place when you're dancing, especially ecstatic dancing. Shutting off your brain, it has no choice but to shut off, because your body's moving how it knows to move in every single moment, right? And I'm sore. I'm realizing that I'm sore because I was whipping it. Okay, my neck is sore. But I was on that dance floor, okay? I was sweating, and it was amazing. So it was a room full of like a lot of people. Is 100 too many? I don't know how to count how many people were in there, but it was a lot of people. And there were so many different ages. I was probably the youngest. At most events like this that I go to, I'm usually the youngest. And there were older people, and I love seeing old people dancing on the dance floor. It's just so inspiring, because I feel like we are told this story that when you age, you are unimportant, you're irrelevant, you can't move your body, you're broken, you're disheveled. But it's so not true, because everybody in my yoga classes and yesterday at the ecstatic dance event, they were older, and they were just having the time of their lives. And it was so inspiring and so fun to just age free. We're all just free of every label of everything. We are just bodies that are moving, and we are creating in every single movement. We are alchemizing energy in our body. We are transforming different shapes. We are transforming ourselves on the dance floor. And I was getting jiggy with it. I was having so much fun, and I feel like I was in kind of this pocket of people that I was dancing with all night. And we were dancing on our own, but then when we would lock in, I would lock in with this older man, and he started like following my movements. And so we just started doing that. And then I started following his movements, and no talking, The only way that we were communicating was through our body. And it was so fun to dance with him. He was so sick. Like, I wish I knew his name, but he was dope. And then I danced with a few other people around me, and we were just jumping around. We were getting tribal with it. Like, when the guy was like on the drums, like me and this other dude, we were jumping, and we were circling around each other. Like, what is that Brazilian martial arts? Capoeira. I remember my dad put me in a capoeira class when I was younger, and I was like dancing with all these huge adults, and I was like this little girl. But anyways, I was dancing with this other guy, and we're doing like that kind of movement. Our energy was just so potent. And then I stuck out my tongue, and I was like, ah, I was like, ah. And we were just going crazy, and he did it back, and we just felt like freaking warriors. It was so much fun. I was like, wow, I'm just like, I don't care. I literally don't care, but it feels right, and we're doing it, and we're in this pocket of just fucking happiness and joy. And so then I was dancing with some other people around me, and at one point I was like smacking my foot on the ground. I was like smacking it, and this other dude like comes up, and he's like smacking with me, and we're like making beats, and it was just so much fun to be able to connect with people on that level, just like the most primal and exciting way to connect. Oh my gosh. And yeah, it was so nice to be sweaty, and the music, and it's dim, and that is what I mean by going out. When I say I want to go out, I mean I want to do ecstatic dance, okay? I mean, like, I want to connect with people on the dance floor in ways that like we're not used to in our day-to-day lives, where we don't have to talk, we don't have to communicate, but our bodies, our energy is doing everything that it needs to do. The energy play is so fucking fun. Oh my God. So usually when I go to events like this, like I've done plenty of ecstatic dance things and just like spiritual events and like whatever. I usually go alone. Yesterday, I invited my boyfriend too, and so we both went, and he had a really great time too. He took off his shirt, everybody's shirtless. I wish I could have been shirtless. Like, that is such a scam. I wish women could be shirtless because I was sweating. But now I know what I'm going to wear next time to this specific event, because it's 2 hours of just like and just all kinds of, it wasn't oonce, but it was so much fun. And we had slow music, so you're slowing down, and people are on the floor and crawling. And at one point, I did like this monkey gorilla walk with this guy, and we were just like on the floor. It was just so awesome. And yeah, I am just so excited from that. So my partner and I were like, we need to put that on the calendar. At least once a week, we're going to do a ecstatic dance in our living room. We want to invite people to come over to do a ecstatic dance. And that's something I've been really thinking about lately. Like, I kind of want a women's group, or like a group of people, and I want to, explore all these things in like an intimate setting. So if any of you guys who are listening are up for that, just like having like groups, of community that can do ecstatic dance together and meditate and breath work and all that stuff, let me know. So yeah, it was just such a great practice of like getting into the present, and it is such a high. It is such a high to be connected to that love, to be connected to whatever it is you think God is, the universal love, all of creation, energy as it is. It is so potent to connect with that with other people, because I love ecstatic dance on my own. It is so much fun, right? But when you're with that many people and you're able to connect and dance with them in that way, oh my God, it's unmatched. It's unmatched. I was just like smiling and just giggling. My eyes were closed. I just felt so much joy. So yeah, that is my reminder to you to check out, if you have any of that where you live, if you hear of any events, I highly recommend you to go, even if it's something that feels uncomfortable for you. I swear, on the dance floor in environments like this, it is so safe, because everybody gives themselves the permission, which gives you the permission to just unleash. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It was kind of a little bit everywhere, but I just wanted to update you on how I've been feeling, what's been inspiring me, the energy that I'm playing with at the moment, and to encourage you all to just go out there, explore, learn, remember, and love. I am on the pathway to loving without shame, and I hope you are too. I love you guys all so very much, and thank you for tuning in again. I am so grateful.